Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the Comedy Cures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. So I've talked about the rule of 3 in comedy, but there's also the 3 rule with anxiety. So I think it's a fun thing to remember if you are experiencing anxiety, that you try this 3 rule besides the 3 rule in comedy. Name 3 things that you see, then name 3 things that you hear, and then move 3 body parts. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm just telling you different things that my friends have shared with me, comedians have shared with me, that I've experienced that have helped me if I'm feeling any kind of anxiety. So I'm just sharing them with you. And some of them are comedy-based. One of the funny ones that I saw was that it said, run. If you're experiencing anxiety, run. And to me, that felt a little bit like a comedy skit that you would see where somebody would have a moment of anxiety and then they would just take off like the road runner. Again, I like to look at things from a 360 perspective. And I also like to do things that make me laugh and smile, even if it's when I'm experiencing sadness or depression or pain or drama. There's also a 5 rule for anxiety. I think this is hilarious that there are all these different number rules. Are you ready for this one? Breathe in for 5 seconds, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then breathe out for 5 seconds. These are all good. I just love watching comedy when I'm feeling anxious. Then I read the 4 A's of anxiety. I am not kidding you. These are all methods that people say to do. Ready? Avoid, alter, adapt, accept. I think we're going to be able to write a comedy routine about all the acronyms and all the letter cues that everybody's giving us. So everybody talks about anxiety, but what are ways to know if you're actually feeling anxious? Joe DeRosa, a very funny comedian, in one of his comedy routines, talks about his anxiety hits him the minute he wakes up in bed. And he goes into explaining how catastrophic the world feels to him the minute he wakes up. So I just wanted to read you the 7-point scale for anxiety in case you're wondering, is my cancer causing me anxiety? What is this feeling? The 7 items. 1, feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. 2, being able to stop or control worrying. 3, worrying too much about different things. 4, trouble relaxing. 5, being restless. 6, becoming easily annoyed or irritable. 7, feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. Do you identify with any of those? I know I do. There are different moments where I feel one or many of those, especially when I was diagnosed with cancer, especially when I was going through treatment, and especially in the early days of survivorship. So how did I get through it? What resiliency techniques did I use? Well, is there any surprise that I'm going to say, comedy, 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 laughter, 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 play, play, play? But we can't lump anxiety into one big ball and say, oh, this is good for everyone. There are many different kinds of anxiety. And if you're feeling any of these, please make sure that you're getting some help from a therapist, either at your hospital or social worker or from a cancer organization. You might be feeling phobic, generalized anxiety, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, separation anxiety. They're all different forms. So I just want to make sure that you know I am not a therapist. I am just telling you how I got through all that cancer treatment and was able to thrive. So wherever you might be in the spectrum, this might just be a temporary anxiety based on your medical situation. I'm just telling you that there is no shame in this and that we can all always do better. We can always get help and improve our mental health. Some people use mood trackers, different apps that help you with your mood so that you can start to see, hey, I feel more anxious in the morning or more anxious in the evening. I think a lot of us would say, okay, anxiety is when someone's restless, they're irritated, they can't sit still, they can't remain calm. But there's a whole other level to anxiety for people who are high functioning people with anxiety, where they would say, if they're people pleasers, if they overthink everything, if they procrastinate, if they have an inability to say no, that could be a sign of high functioning anxiety. So I think just talking about this and getting it out in the open is really important. And to think of ways that even though we could be going through cancer treatment or survivorship, that we could improve our mental health and be less anxious. I can tell you that by doing breathing exercises, meditating, praying, journaling, doing all those things when I'm not feeling any anxiety really helped me build that resiliency muscle so that if anything did happen, I was so comfortable and used to those outlets that they triggered a sense of calm for me. So just starting slowly, building up things that make you feel more joyful. So again, I always say comedy, but dancing, listening to music, doing all these things when you're not feeling anxious so that you can lean on these things if you do feel anxious. I also really think just doing breathing exercises that have nothing to do with anxiety, just every day making sure that I consciously pay attention to my breath and that I'm doing a breathing exercise. And there's so many. We can actually do an episode on it. I use different techniques at different times of the day. And just being aware of my breathing and doing my breathing if I'm not having any problems or stress or anxiety really helps me fall back on that if something comes at me that's causing me stress or tension. I'm a pretty calm person and I think really well under pressure, but I think it's because I've built up all of these muscles. I don't think that I was particularly better at anxiety than anyone else. It's just that I've consciously done all these techniques day after day, week after week, year after year. And so now they really help me short circuit anything that comes into my body or my mind or my spirit that just doesn't feel good. I also have a deep level of faith, and I do have a relationship with my creator. So I think that does provide a sense of calm. And I'm not trying to proselytize anybody. I'm just saying that for me, that really works. I want to share an interesting study with you that I found through the NIH. It's actually a Turkish study from 2016 to 2017. And they worked with oncology patients who were going for surgery. They looked at the effect of comedy films in Turkish oncology patients. The study results suggested that watching Turkish comedy movie videos has a positive effect on post-operative pain and anxiety in surgical oncology patients. Wow. There is a method to this madness. This is just one study, but I loved that it was with cancer patients who were undergoing cancer surgery. If you can't get to a comedy festival, no worries. Hopefully you can make it to a Comedy Cures program, or you can go to a local comedy club and have a night out or a Sunday brunch out with others and comedians. If you can't leave the house, please look online and search out the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival or your local comedy clubs and look for clips. Otherwise, go to YouTube and find clips that you enjoy. If you're looking for comedians, if you really don't know many comedians, go to the Comedy Cures Foundation and look under the About Us page and then select comedians, and you'll find several hundred comedians there that we work with. Finding your list of go-to comedians might take a little time, but we can help you out, and you can follow them on YouTube, see if you like their material. For Comedy Cures, they perform much cleaner material, but you can search them out. We also have comedians on our website performing at comedycures.org, and every day there is a comedian on the Comedy Cures laugh line, 1-888-HA-HA-HA-HA. That's 4 ha's. If you press 1, you can reach a professional comedian. If you press 2, an amateur. If you press 3, you can tell us a joke. So if you do work out a little material about your own anxiety, you can share it with me. Just go to comedycures.org and hit the record button, or do it through our laugh line and press option 3. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you guys know this, but Beating Cancer Daily is a listener and donor-supported podcast and community. So if you have some extra change, I'd love you to go to comedycures.org and make a donation today of whatever level is comfortable for you. And it will be tax deductible to the extent allowed by law, because Comedy Cures is a nonprofit 501c3 organization founded from my chemo chair, April 1999, and we've been going strong ever since. So please consider making a donation today and help our community and this podcast thrive. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening.